Papercrafting friends, it's Andrea from Prairie Sky DIY, your friendly neighborhood Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Manitoba. I had a question recently about the best way to fold and score your paper so that your cards lay flat. It can be a little bit problematic from time to time when you're creating a fancy fold to get, or a fun fold, to get your paper to lay completely flat. So I'm going to share some ideas with you today. So I've got a piece of 11.5 by 4.25 cardstock. This is Sweet Sorbet. I'm going to show you first of all how to go ahead and do that with your paper trimmer that has the scoring blade on it. You can also use a scoreboard. If you don't have a scoring tool, you can use a bone folder or a stylus with a ruler, and I'll show you that as well. So what you're going to do is line up your paper on whatever tool you're using to get your score. Now, I like to go a couple of times, and I prefer to go bottom to top because it pushes the paper into the guard, I guess, for lack of a better word. So we're going to go up, up, up. So 3 times. And then, move this guy out of the way. So you've got, in essence, a valley fold on this side and a mountain on this side. So valley goes down, mountain goes up. You're going to take this because we've lengthened the fibers on this side. This is going to be the outside of your card. So when you go to bend it, you're not going to get any of that cracking. Now, I tend to have better success when I'm folding if I'm using a heavier weight cardstock. I love the Stampin' Up! Cardstock. The lighter weight discounted type cardstock, it will work, but the chances of it cracking and splitting are greater, I think. So here's our bone folder. So you've got the point and you've got this sort of flat angled edge, and then you've got your handle piece. When you're scoring or burnishing, which is what flattening out your score line is called, you want to use this part. So you want to use the flat. I like to hold it at about maybe a 45 or slightly under angle and then pull towards you. And I like to do a couple of times. So I would say medium pressure. I'm not pressing too terribly hard. And then my card is laying flat. So you can do it a couple of times. It's open a little tiny bit at the end, maybe 1/8 of an inch, if that. You're hardly ever going to be able to get your cardstock to lay perfectly flat. Now let's grab a scrap here. And I'll show you how to do it with a ruler. So I'm not going to use a ruler to measure. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it because I'm just doing an example here. But I've got a ruler and I'm going to line it up. Make sure that your paper is lined up on the line. You can also make pencil marks at the top and the bottom to keep your paper straight. And then I'm going to take my bone folder, and instead of using the edge, I'm going to use the tip. And I'm going to go, you want to hold it sort of like you would hold a pencil. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. The other thing too is if you're using a lighter weight cardstock, you don't want to push too hard because it'll tear. Just like when you're trying to score designer series paper, because it's lighter weight, if you push too hard, there is a chance that it can tear. So then we're going to take and do the exact same thing. So we're going to take our cardstock, have our mountain in the center, and then we're just going to use the flat end, and 1, 2, 3. And there's our card. Oops, that did not go straight. Try that again. There we go. So you've got your fold there. Now, some ways of folding are a little bit more challenging. If you have a bigger piece of cardstock, the chances of it laying flat are better. There's a card that I made last week. I'm just going to re-burnish the edge and show you burnishing it, it's laying flat. So the weight of what's on top will also help keep it shut. And here's one that I just made as well that is completely shut. But as I was just saying, there are some folds that are a little bit more challenging to lay flat. And that can be if you're doing multiple folds on one card, or if you're using a diagonal. But I'm just gonna grab another piece of sweet sorbet here, and we're gonna do a diagonal fold. Okay, so we're gonna do half a sheet of cardstock. I'm not actually gonna make a card with this because I have no idea. I don't have a plan in my head right now. And then we're gonna line it up to create our score. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, and then this is going to be the front of our card. So if I want this edge to fold over to here, I'm going to do, what am I going to do? I'm going to do it to the opposite way. Because you always want your valley to be where the cardstock bends. So if, oh no, hold on. If I want it to bend this way, right, okay. Sorry, just a little bit of that whole measure twice, cut once, or in this case, measure twice, score, well, 3 times, but all right. So we've got our card base and we've got our angle fold. So we're gonna first burnish this guy. We're gonna do 1, 2, 3, and it'll lay flat. And then we're gonna lean, this is our fold, we're gonna lean it this way. And then we're gonna do 1, 2, 3. And then it will still lay mostly flat. I'm just gonna flip this guy back into our paper trimmer and just trim the edge. I'm also going to do a blog post with this video, which I will link down below so that you can grab the PDF for a visual as well. Now, if you're doing a fold and you've scored it so that the crease is to the outside and it's still not laying 100% flat, the other thing that you can always do is create a belly band. Now, I'm just going to trim this little flag off because it's going to bug me. When you're creating a belly band, basically that is a piece of cardstock or pattern paper that you can use sort of like a belt to hold your card together. So what I usually do is have the entire piece at the front, flip it over, and then just very loosely, because you don't want it to be super tight, you do want to be able to take it off, very loosely eyeball it to center. And then before you adhere anything, you want to just slide and make sure that it's going to be able to go on and come off quickly and easily. And then you can decorate all sides of it with either stamps, designer series paper, a punched shape. You could also use die cuts or really whatever you have on hand. So we're going to stick our belly band back on. And then close your card, and then that'll make sure. That's particularly handy if you have a particularly bulky card. You just want to make sure that it's not going to pop open before you intend it to be. So I hope that you have found this little tutorial on how to score your paper so that your cards lay flat helpful. As always, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can either leave a comment on the blog or on the video. I always respond to the comments, maybe not right away, but I do respond. And be sure to pop onto my email list as well, where I offer tips and tricks and hacks quite frequently. The email comes out about once a week. As always, thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate it, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. See you soon.